Hello and welcome to this tutorial in Mice Toolkit. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own database from DICOM images that you have on disk. So for this video, I have prepared some data to import. Here I have two folders. I have one CT series and 3 MR series in the first exam date and 5 MRI series in the second exam date. And I want to import this into Mice. So first I'm going to create an empty database. I'm going to do this by clicking Create New Database. I'm going to name it Database, and I'm going to put it in this case where the data is and hit OK. So now we can see that we have an empty database called Database. So let's import some data. We do that by clicking Import DICOM from folder. I'm going to browse to where the data is and hit OK. I'm just going to hit Start now, and I'll go through the rest of this stuff later. So it found 1102 files. It imports them now. It failed to import one file, and that's the database file that we put in that folder to start with. So it cannot import the database file to itself, obviously. And now it's done, and we see that it imported 1101 files. So we close that down. And we now see that we have one patient with this patient ID and this name, and this is data taken from the DICOM tags that we imported. And here we see that we have two exam dates, and within each exam date we have the series that we expect. Note here that the CT is named no name. That's because by default the series in the database are named from the series description tag of the DICOM data that it imports. And the CT doesn't have a series description in this case. So we can fix this in one of two ways. The easiest way is to just right click and select rename. And I'm going to rename it something else. There we go. That's one way of doing it. But I'm going to show you how to use the more advanced import functions in the import tool. So I'm going to delete this series and I'm going to import it again. And I'm going to browse to where my data is, and in this instance I'm just going to select this folder here. So the first panel here shows the naming of the series. The default is series description, but we can select different tags to name the series in the database. We can also select containing folder, and this is what I'm going to do in this case. And then we can just hit Start. And then it will recognize that it has already imported 3 MRI series. It will report this as duplicates and just ignore them. But in this case, I want to show you how the filters works as well. So I'm going to say that if the modality contains MR, then exclude. So I'm just going to exclude all the MR in this folder. Now I can hit Start. And we see that it found 89 files. It imported 20 files and it filtered 69 files. So let's go back and see how our database looks now. Now we see that the CT is actually named CT brain, just like the folder was called. Okay, so now back in the folder here, we see that we have the database file here. So it's just one file that's about 124 megabytes. We can make a copy of this file. So I'm just going to hit copy and paste. So then we have a copy of this database here. So we can import this copy into Mice as well. And we do that by clicking here, Add Existing Database File. Now I just browse to where my database file is, here in this case, and I click Open. So now that we see that we also have a copy of our database called database copy, and it is identical to the first. This is convenient if you want to import new data or rename all the data and you're not sure if you want to commit to that change, then you can just make a copy of it. If you want to remove this now, you can just hit Remove Connection. And then we see that we have only two databases again. However, if we go back to the folder, we see that the file is still here. So you have to delete the file manually. Okay, that's all for now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.